Perfect. All right. Let's see if the computer works. All righty. So my name is Rafael Fulton Fernandez. I go by he, him. I am from Brazil, as you can see on the flag up there. I work for Lenovo. Everyone here knows what Lenovo is? All righty, perfect. We do computers and we do servers. We also own Motorola. So if you ever remember Hello Moto, that's from Lenovo too. I'm a senior global project manager. I've been there for about 4 years. Now I live in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. And I like to include every time we're going to do these presentations that we're more than a title, we're more than where we're from. We also have passions, we're also people. So I put up there, I love to do operations, I love to do project management, but I also love tennis. I play tennis at Penn State Harrisburg. I love running. I love watching sports, and one of these sports is Penn State football. So very excited to be here. My information is going to be here as well. So if you want to get in touch, feel free to do so, okay? So today on the agenda, we're going to go over a lot of things. We're going to go into as much detail as possible in the time that we have here. So we're going to go over some of the pre-research that you have to do when you're trying to find a job, some of the resume and cover letter that we did. Again, remember, Penn State has amazing career services. Please use them. They are free. You don't have to necessarily go on, you can go on Google, but they have people here that can help you. And that's all for free. We're going to talk about the career fair. We're going to talk about some of the things that helped us when we were trying to find a job, and especially as international students. If you haven't realized, there are some things that happen with visas. So we're going to talk about that as well. And we have someone here from the visa officer that is going to be able to hopefully answer a little bit more questions later. Okay, so we're going to do something to be more interactive. Raise your hand here if
you already have a job lineup after school.
If you are in school.
Congratulations.
All righty, one person.
You completed an internship during school.
Okay.
Awesome.
All righty, increasing the number, that's good.
You guys are well prepared. Do you have a resume ready?
Okay, increasing that as well.
There are some things about the visa process I don't quite understand.
Okay, okay, that's good.
And you're feeling overwhelmed with the job search process. Okay.
Okay, very good. Even if you haven't raised your hand and you're not overwhelmed, that's good too, okay? Okay, so when we are talking about the job search, and we like to call this the pre-research, are you aware that in a couple of weeks, you're gonna have a massive career fair at Penn State, one of the biggest career fairs in the country? Everyone aware? When you go into that career fair, you're gonna get a number of companies that are gonna be present. And you're gonna have probably 2-3 weeks to research about all of these companies. How do you usually do that kind of research, right? Some companies are going to be offering in your field positions that are going to be in Pennsylvania, some are going to be in New York, some are going to be in California. What kind of interests do you have? Is it the industry that you want to be in? Is it technology? Is it plumbing? Is it fire systems? Is it industrial? Is it automotive? So what kind of interest do you have? But one of the things I like to mention every time someone is doing a pre-research to find a job is, what kind of requirements do you have? A lot of people say, I really want to stay in Pennsylvania. Remember, now that we're moving to a more, I'd say, job remote and hybrid and flexible work environment, it is a little bit easier to say, I only want to do remote. And you can define and decide where you want to live. But a lot of companies are still going to have a hybrid mode where you need to go to the office. And we don't know what that's going to look like yet. It's going to be 2022, 2023, but you need to account for what requirements you have. And if you want to have a specific location, or if you want to be in a specific part of a company, if you need to be part of a rotational program, everyone knows what a rotational program is? Companies are creating rotational programs to ensure that not only you're increasing your network within the company, but you're also increasing the amount of things you learn about that company. So you're going to spend 6 months to a year in a position, and then you go another 6 months to a year to another position. And if this is one of your requirements, you need to make sure that out of the hundreds of companies that are coming here, you're only looking for the rotational program ones. So I like to say on your pre-research, when you're looking at the career fair and you're super overwhelmed by the amount of companies, sometimes you don't know the name of all of them. Sometimes you've heard of Apple and Google, but remember, everyone is applying for Apple and Google. Everyone is applying for Microsoft. What other companies are also of your interest? And that could be in the tech field, and that could be in the industrial field, automotive field. And then the two last things are the companies that you're looking for. You need to learn about them. You don't have to necessarily go on an interview. And I like to say, about Lenovo, the example, because I've seen it. People get in an interview, what do you know about Lenovo? You make computers. We making computers is a fact, but what else do you know about us? What drew you to come talk to us and apply for this? So every time you're looking for a company and you're doing this pre-research, make sure to follow them on LinkedIn. Make sure to read about the companies. Make sure to show them why you're interested in that company. Make sure to say, I came here because the ESG efforts you do are amazing, or the diversity efforts you do are something that I'm looking for. But again, remember to align what your interests and requirements are to that company, because you may end up finding a company for its name, and then when you start working, that's not the culture for you. And if you have done a little bit of research, talk to someone from that company, you could have understood a little bit more before you apply.
Right. So guys, I saw your hands, and I know most of you already have prepared like a resume already. I wanted to go to some like tips or things that I even go back to whenever I'm updating mine. And we share some with this with Rafa as well. So first of all, for the formatting of your resume, I think you guys all know this, a college resume you have to keep to one page. And the reason for this is usually, this is crazy to me, and I just found out this, recruiters take like an average of 6 to 8 seconds to review resumes, which is crazy because they're trying to skim it. So they don't read through it, they look for keywords and stuff like that. So definitely keep that to one page. You want to make sure your resume is clean and clear formatting. So what I mean with this is your font, your spacing, everything, try to make it look clean. Like I said, recruiters are going to take a quick look at it, and we want to make sure that it's easy for them to skim through it, to read through it. List experience in reverse chronological order. And this we know, for example. So if you have an experience now, if you have a job right now, that's the thing that is going to go first. And then if you had a job before or some experience you did before, that goes after that, and so on and so on. Same thing with your education. So you're in Penn State now, so that will be what you will show first on your resume. For the content, so below every experience you write down in your resume, you want to make sure you write like 3 to 4 bullet points. And this usually what it shows is like what you did to the company, what you learned in the company, and a good way to show these bullet points is using power verbs. So power verbs examples are implemented, managed, increased, facilitated. So instead of saying something like, I did this project, you can say something like, I implemented this idea in this project, I managed this project. And with these verbs, it is important that we use variety. So you don't want, if you already use the word, for example, implemented, you don't want to use it again in the next bullet point, right? So yeah, so just like use different verbs when it comes to that, and also be specific. And I think this is a very important one. Recruiters like to see numbers in the resume, and that's usually something that calls their attention real quick too. So if you can quantify your experience, do that. So for example, if you work on your capstone team, or you were like the leader of your capstone team, you can be, instead of saying, I was the leader of my capstone team, you can say something like, I was the leader of a capstone team that had 4 members. Or if you have helped the company raise some money, you can write down, we did this project with a profit of this amount of money, and that definitely is going to call the recruiter's attention. And then for your cover letter, write a cover letter that shows how you would be an asset to the company. We're missing the word company there. But so yeah, what a cover letter basically is you tell them a little bit of your interest, what you're interested in the company, and then you show them like how the experience you have makes you a good asset, a good fit for the company. A good tip about your cover letter, and what I like to do, is I usually go like to their bio page, because they usually list like their mission, their vision, what the company is about, like Rafa talked about, like their culture. And I show them with that. I come back to my cover letter and tell them how the experience that I've had, the things I learned either in the school or any experience that I had before, can, help them fulfill that mission, or, or fit in that company.
Yeah.
And, sorry.
Go ahead.
And at the end, you cannot see it, but the biggest advice I have for you guys is make an appointment with career services. They, like, if you go to them with your resume, they're gonna know the right way to tailor that for you, like depending on the company, your major, what your interests are, and they really get paid for it. They know what they're doing, so definitely make an appointment with them. They can also help you with mock interviews, and they are the resource of all the networking of Penn State. So they have the information of like events and stuff going on campus that can help you connect and network with other people too at Penn State. So definitely go check them out.
Yeah. And one thing I'm going to compliment here, cover letter. Don't write the same cover letter for multiple companies and change the name of the company or the manager. Do not. A lot of companies that use the same system that could track that you're submitting, especially if you're submitting those on LinkedIn. LinkedIn does track the documentation that you're sending. So you may say that you just changed that on your computer, but the formatting of it is going to show that previous editions or previous versions were for other places. So make sure when you're doing it, you're actually spending time. And it goes back to the research that you're doing about the company, that you're spending time when you're writing those cover letters. Don't write the same one, change the subject, and then, hey, I'm guilty of that. I used to do that until I realized that all was being tracked. So please take a look at that and make sure that you're researching when you're writing, you're being really assertive about what you want to say for that company. Based on your personal experience, what do you want to learn? Not only giving them the resume, Maria said 6 seconds, they're going to look at it. If you have something additional on why, I did my research, here's why I want to work for you. Okay, I'm going to spend a little bit of time because I think this is the most valuable tool that I've used and I'm still using a lot on finding a job and maintaining your personal branding after you leave college. I've been away from Penn State for 5 years, not away because I still have a brother here and I can't get away from football. So I've been on the workforce for 5 years. But when I was at Penn State, I understood really quickly about the LinkedIn picture and everything that I had to do. I went to career services and they told me, your picture is not clear enough. Your picture doesn't show exactly what you are. It has, other people because, I cropped some other people from the background, or I had something of me with my face to the side that doesn't show my face. So a couple of the tips that they had was, first, make sure that you have a clear picture. And a clear picture means I'm going to go on a background, and that could be white, that could be blue, that could be that wall, that could be that wall, that could be that wall. And then you take something that then later you can actually see your face. So don't try to crop that from, a football game or someplace where you were like here. Oh, I can't wear this. That you were here and then you have a suit and a tie on and then you try to crop, but then, Maria's face is going to come on the side, right? Or her hair is going to come on the side. Try to be very assertive about that. The introduction. So you have an about section on LinkedIn. Your introduction really needs to talk about who you are. They want to see the experience and the education where the experience and the education is asking for. They don't want to see the experience and the education in your about. So don't go and say, I spent 2 years at this company or I did an internship in the about. That's not what they want to see on the about introduction. They want to see what are your passions, what are the things that you're good at, what are the things that you're looking for. And this is what you're going to write on your about. And again, LinkedIn has something that is amazing right now that you can put in your profile picture, something that's called open to work. So everyone here has a LinkedIn, by the way? Raise your hand if you have a LinkedIn.
Nice.
All right, everyone, good. So if you have a LinkedIn, you can go up there and you can let all recruiters know that you're open to work. You can even tell them how much salary you want, what kind of positions you're looking for, what kind of hashtags you're following. So imagine that 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we didn't have all of that. If I was open to work, I had to go get in touch with recruiters, and we're going to talk about that. But now you can let them know in a green section that says, I am open to work, which is amazing. So when I go through LinkedIn, all of the phases of LinkedIn, you always need to take a look at the SMART methodology. Who knows what the SMART methodology is? Anyone? SMART. All righty. So the SMART is specific, measurable, assertive, results-oriented, and then time-based. So every single thing that you're talking about in your education, the results that you have, you need to be very specific. Maria was saying about numbers. Be very specific. What numbers did you help in your internship? When you're involved at a club here, How many people did you manage or were you a leader of? How much money did you fundraise for that club that you're working on? What were your specific tasks that you had in that internship or in that education role? Same thing with measurable. Measurable, I think, is the most important one because it's very easy to see the numbers that are going to be in there. So one of the reasons GPA is very great to see on the measurable piece of it, because there is a range that you can measure, right? You can go from, I think it's 2 or 1 or 0 to 4, right? So then someone can measure because there is a balance, or 0 to 100%. And that's the balance that you're going to have. When you're talking about education, you're here at Penn State, so you're going to put your education is everything in reverse time frame or chronology, right? Chronological time frame. Chronological time frame. So you want to make sure that you're putting Penn State first, and then if you have other certifications or other schools that you went to, you can always put that on education. Also highlight in your education if you are part of honors school, if you're part of anything else that you're doing within that school. They also have sections for clubs, societies, but make sure that you're adding that at some point in your education. Highlights your achievements and awards, which is, if you have any, please put them in there. And then the 3 last ones are going to be very important. First one is connecting with other people. So here you are in this room, have about 50, 40 people in this room. And I'm going to challenge you that after you leave here today, you're going to find your friends from your classes. You're going to find your colleagues from your classes. You're going to get from the people in your club, and you're going to get in touch with them on LinkedIn. And the reason I say that is, first, there is more engagement on LinkedIn. When they like something, you're going to see that. When they comment on something, you're going to see that. Plus, in 5, 10, 15 years, you don't know where you are going to be. You don't know where they are going to be. And you want to be connected on LinkedIn because a lot of people are moving up in their career. And if you're connected with those people, this is what we're calling of networking, the power of networking. A lot of jobs that you may get throughout your career are going to be based on your network. So make sure you're connecting with people. And then within here, what you're doing at Penn State, leverage that to use kudos and skills and give shout outs to people. So if you're giving shout out to people here, when you give a shout out to people, on LinkedIn, it's going to show on their profile and it's going to show for other people as well. So the main thing that I talk about LinkedIn is leverage everything that you have in there. Write articles. They have the possibility of you writing articles. They have the possibility of you posting pictures and posting everything that you're doing. It's not an Instagram and it's not a Facebook and it's not a TikTok, but it is something more related to your work experience. All of the recruiters are in there. A lot of the work that they're doing is through LinkedIn. If you have something that is updated, if you have something that is telling your true story, most likely you're going to get a lot of views and a lot of visibility from these recruiters. So make sure that you're leveraging a lot of LinkedIn. Career Services also has things about LinkedIn. And again, the best resource that we have right now, YouTube and Google. If you have any question about LinkedIn, there are a lot of people teaching about LinkedIn. So please go ahead on YouTube and learn more. I just learned a lot about mine. I changed my banner, I changed my profile picture because that gives more visibility as well. So make sure that you're leveraging that, okay?
So finding your next opportunity. So you got your resume ready, you have a cover letter, you have set up with the advice of Rafa, all your LinkedIn page. Now, where do I go to find a job? Where do I go to find an internship? So here are some things that you could do. First of all, are job search engines that I guess is the classic one. It's been there for ages. You can just go by industry, by career, by job positions, and you can find what's open, what's out there, right? One of my favorites is LinkedIn. Like Rafa said, all companies connect through LinkedIn and they put up their positions they have open there. So that is like a really good place to go and find opportunities. Also, they have like good features that you can use. For example, they have this quick apply that you can use. So if you find yourself wanting to apply to a lot of companies at the same time, and you feel like you need to apply to a lot of companies, that is like a quick way to just send your information to a lot of companies. Need Lion Careers, that's the job search engine from Penn State University. And one of the reasons I really like this job is because usually the employers that are listed here are employers that are interested in hiring Penn State students. So you definitely will find good opportunities there. The next two, Going Global and myvisajobs.com, they're also search engines that you are only gonna find people that are currently sponsoring visas in the United States. So the way that I use this platform, actually, when I was looking for my job, is I will go there. Like I said, you can look for them industry, occupation, or job title. I will find the companies that were offering, and then I went to the career service, to the career website. And then I will see what positions were open, and then, I'll make my pick, and then I applied through their career website. And again, company career sites, I mean, I think a lot of people, if you like your major, you already have research about what things you can do after college, what companies you like. So if you do have a company that you like, the best place to find like the information is the source. So definitely the career website is the way to go. All the job positions are gonna be open there. And then networking. So some places you can network. Social media in LinkedIn is a good option. Actually, I just found out about that through LinkedIn, you can basically find, how could I explain this? You can find like a person that already has your job, or your dream job. And then you can text them, you can send them a message and being, I'm interested in an informal interview, like an informational interview. And what this basically is you can talk to them, and then you get more information about the job, what things I have to learn, what experience do I have to get so I can do that job in the future. And it's just like an interview where you get informed and you get like some tools to start working on what you want to do later, right? Another thing is LionLink. This tool is also from Penn State, and what is basically is you set up your student account, and there's a lot of alumni from Penn State that have set their accounts too with different majors, and they're all parts of the world that are open to receiving emails for networking. So you can email them, I am interested in this position, or I'm interested in this experience that you had before, and like, how can we connect? Or can I send you my resume? All of that, right? So definitely check that out. We have Ripple Match and WayUp as well. They both are platforms. They're a little bit like LionLink. You basically set up your account, you put all your information, you put your resume, your cover letter, and they match you with companies that fit your resume. And then Penn State Network and Reception events. Like I said before, like the career services, they are always doing events. Like I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Penn State Career Fair that is coming up next week. But apart from that, there's so many career fairs, like for your own major, or so many dinners where companies just come and want to talk to students and are open, and those are all open to Penn Staters. So definitely go to that. Even sometimes you get a free meal, so why not, right? So yeah, you wanna. And then the Penn State Fall Career Fair. So next week, guys, I want you all to be there. This year is special because of COVID. Usually the career fair happens on the Bryce Jordan Center, and it's a 3-day event. But this year what they're doing is they're doing 1-day presence, and the other 2 is going to be online. So I have some tips for you to prepare before actually going, if you're going to the presence career fair. You want to print your resume. And a good rule of thumb for this is like, if you want to talk to 10 companies, do double. So whatever the amount of companies you want to talk to, just double them. It's better to have more resumes than be left with none. Also, before going, research the companies. Make sure you go to their website, they know what they're about, prepare some questions for them before going to talk to them, and then prepare your pitch. So basically, it's like a small introduction, a little bit of who are you, what are you studying, what you're interested, what you're looking for, and yeah. Also, for after the career fair, it is very important to stay in contact. So what's going to happen in the career fair is like, there's usually lines, you line up to talk to every single employer. And sometimes they invite you for interviews, but when they don't invite you for interviews, sometimes they just give you a contact card or they give you an email. And definitely when you get home, if there's a company that you like, definitely reach out and be like, thank you for talking to me today. My name is this. This is my resume. I'm going to touch my resume again. I hope that we can keep in contact and hope you're well, right? And I just added this question because actually my sister asked me this like last week. I said, what year should I start just attending the career fair? Because it feels like in the career fair, most people are either looking for an internship or looking like for a job, right? And then some employers are just looking for juniors and seniors. But I would advise, even if you're a freshman, it's always a good idea to start going to these events, because even if you're not going to get an internship that year, it is a good idea just to go and practice your interview skills. Just like if you get nervous talking to people, that's a good way to practice, or even just going to the employers and be like, okay, I'm interested in this position for the future. What can I do now to be prepared to be ready for this position whenever I'm in the right year
Yeah.
to do it, right?
And that's a perfect point. And I'm going to give the example. I've been coming here to represent Lenovo and hired just for Penn State for 4 years for the global supply chain rotational program that we created. And I remember the second or third year that we came here, I think it was 2 years ago, 2019, right before COVID, there was a girl, she was a freshman, and she came talk to us and she was like, I'm not really sure what I want to do. I don't know what my major should be. But I saw Lenovo and I saw the rotational program and I was really interested in what you were doing. And it's been really successful. I had a friend of mine that actually did an internship last year, but I'm still a freshman. This year she's turning to be a junior and she just did her internship with us because she went on the first year. She had her resume. She was still a freshman. She wasn't, I think she was three weeks at school at Penn State because the career fair is September. So she had just started. But she had heard from a friend that, the experience was nice and she just went out there. She was just asking companies, what do you think I should do next year to prepare? What should I be doing with my resume next year? So it's always good at least to try one time. And then you're going to see as you get into the career fair, the first company you're going to talk, you're probably going to be a little nervous. So you can even pick not your dream company, right? Go talk to another company, talk to someone, you're a little nervous. Because then when you get to the second and the third companies, it's usually a little bit easier to do. And with virtual, you're at home. You can be at home and you can do 3, 4, 5, 6 companies in 15, 20 minutes. Just make sure that you're very assertive about it. Make sure that you ask the right questions. All the companies want you to not only be giving you a pitch, but also asking questions. All right. Telling about the interview. Maria just mentioned about the pitch. Everyone here has done a pitch before. Yes? No? All righty. So a pitch, I like to say it's probably the only time in your college life that you're actually, even if you are not a salesperson, you're going to have to be a salesperson. You're going to have to sell yourself. So you're going to have to tell them, this is who I am, these are my internships, and this is why you should hire me. Because if you come out there, and I'm going to give an example, if you come out there and say, hey, my name is Rafa, I really love a job, they're going to ask you why. But if you come out there and you say, hey, my name is Rafa, I had 3 internships, I'm part of this club, my GPA is really great, but the most interesting thing about your company is the efforts that you're doing for diversity and inclusion. How do I get in there? You see the difference? You want to have a pitch, you want to talk about yourself, and even if it's set for 30 seconds, of course, don't go out there and use those 30 seconds as if it was, a non-stopping, breathe as while you're talking. And they're going to start asking you questions. Why did you get so interested? And then you start telling them about your experiences. So make sure that you have a pitch. In your interview, a lot of the questions that are going to be asked, they're up here. So the education and work experience, and they're going to ask you about, and the questions that usually companies ask, they are very standard. So you can go before any interview and prepare 50, and I mentioned here 100, 50 to 100 questions. Every company is going to ask one of them because we get a list from HR and talent acquisition with all of the same questions, right? And then year over year, we just pick which ones we want to ask. If you practice all of them, you know how to answer all of them, right? So it's just something you go on Google, get 100 questions, answer them, make sure that you know at least some bullet points how to answer them. When you get on the interview, okay, tell me a time where you had, to deal with something that was not the way that you expected. Or tell me a time where you had an experience with the project that you needed more time, or the professor didn't give you more time. If you wrote that down, you know how to answer each one of these. You don't need to be thinking, oh, let me think about one time, or let me think about another time. Appropriate dress code, virtual and in person. One thing I remember, because COVID started, and even before COVID, even if you're wearing something on the top, wear something on the bottom. Sometimes these WePals and these interviews that you have to do recording, they do ask you to stand up. So make sure you're wearing something on the bottom. Don't put like a suit and then shorts or boxers, please. Research the company, be on time, check the technology in advance. So if you are able to 30 minutes, 15 minutes before anything that is online, make sure that you're checking the online. The career fair also has, or the career services also has, I think, labs with computers that you can use the space. So you can go in there if you don't feel comfortable doing that at home. Go in there and make sure that you can do it. And then each one of the questions after you finished your interview, make sure you have questions prepared for them. The worst thing for someone that is interviewing you is that when you end your questions as an interviewer, that the interviewee has no questions. Make sure that you have 3, 4, 5. Tell me a day in the life of this position that I'm applying for. Tell me what is the career growth. Tell me what the expectations that you have from me. Tell me when I get that job, what are you expecting me to do? Are you expecting me to go in there and in 3 months to own the entire process? Or do you expect me just to be someone that is listening in and learning, and then 6 months later, you're gonna ask me to do the same thing? So make sure you're asking the questions. Make sure that when you research the company, every single piece of it, you're like, oh, this I don't understand. And a lot of companies, they put acronyms. And acronyms is something that once you get, we were just talking about that today, about Oracle and Lenovo. We all have acronyms. Companies now have acronyms, and everything is an acronym. And on their website, they put these acronyms, and sometimes they miss it. And if you go in there and you find a couple, okay, what does that mean? Right, and I'm gonna give an example. Who knows what ESG is? All right, we're gonna talk about that later. All righty, and then the last thing is follow up after the interview. After you ask questions, go on LinkedIn, reach out to them, make sure, hey, thank you for your interview today. If you have any additional questions, please let me know. And this is a good way of knowing. Always ask about the next steps. You finish the interview, what are the next steps after here? You do not want to finish an interview and not know what comes next. You may hear in 6 months, 3 months, 2 weeks, tomorrow. Always make sure that you ask what comes after the interview. The interview is already a step after the career fair, so it's something that you already progressed a little bit, okay? All righty, so now we're gonna talk about career spotlight, and I'm gonna be very, very quick on this. Who can tell me a couple of the careers nowadays that are super famous? Raise your hand and just tell me. Software engineering, data science, come on. Machine learning, okay, what else? I see a lot of tech. UX design, supply chain, what else? Anyone else? So I'm gonna go back to my previous question. What is ESG? Who knows what ESG is? Anyone? Has anyone heard that every single company now in the New York, who follows the New York exchange market? Or stock exchange? Everyone, 2 people, 3 people? Every company now to be listed in the New York Stock Exchange, they need to have in their yearly reports something about ESG, environmental, social, and governance. If they don't have something in their report, they can't be listed there. So a lot of companies are doing a lot of things about environment, about social, and about governance. So make sure that you know this word, because I'm gonna put up there, one of the good jobs and one of the things that the companies are looking for is people that know about ESG. And if you're in college and you have more time than people that are already working and you want to learn about ESG, you have that time. Same thing about another job that is really important nowadays. It's called change management. Who heard of change management? There are now a lot of certifications on change management because there's so much change going on, especially with COVID. If you're certified in change management and they have jobs that are specifically for change management, you get that job. And to be very honest, if you already know and if you have experience on change management, that's easier. So let's talk also about project management, complex project management. A lot of companies hiring for project management. And then there is Agile, Scrum, Scrum Master. And if you haven't heard of those, a lot of certifications are available as well. So I'm gonna put here on the next one, and you're gonna see some of what I think are very important right now. So we mentioned technology, digital transformation, ESG, diversity and inclusion, computer science. And one of the things we're going to specialize today as well, and we're going to talk a little bit, is mental health and the importance of mental health in the corporate world, okay? All right, the application process. When you're applying, something that was created not too long ago, and I heard someone at Lenovo mentioning, it's called the application tracking system. Has everyone seen an application tracking system? I hadn't seen one until like two months ago. It's something like an Excel spreadsheet for you, but it's a database that every time you apply to something, you can mark there which jobs you applied, and then it keeps track of it. I think it's super awesome, because when I did, I was doing Excel spreadsheet and I was copying websites and putting in my Excel spreadsheet what job application, but then I couldn't follow up. I had to do the same thing. So make sure that you leverage some of these ATS. So you can go on Google and take a look at the ATS. We talked about LinkedIn, the quick apply. that's going to get all your information and it's going to quick apply to that job, leverage your network, and then make sure that you know the recruiting timelines of companies as well. So if they are here for the career fair in September, that means that by like October, November, they want to be done with all of their recruiting efforts for the following year. So don't wait to start applying for jobs until January before the fall or before the May that you're going to graduate. Start the year before. So July and August, if you're a sophomore or a junior for next year, make sure that you're doing this already. A year before you start applying and say, hey, in May, I want a job, because by November, all of the jobs that are open for the following May and June, they're going to be done. So make sure that you understand the recruiting timeline of each one of the companies that you want to apply for. And the last thing is overcoming imposter syndrome. So when you're talking to companies, regardless what it is, we're going to be all afraid of saying our achievements, and make sure that you mention them. Make sure that if you have achievements, if you have things that you want to talk about, that you're actually talking about them. I know it's difficult and I know it takes time, but make sure you leverage those.
Alrighty. So reviewing and negotiating an offer. So you have gotten an offer letter. Congratulations. After you call your mom, there's some things you want to review and make sure you're being taken care of, especially being an international student in the United States. So first of all, does this job offer a visa sponsorship? And this is probably you would have talked about already in the interview, but when you're negotiating, especially if you're not in a STEM major, you want to make sure that this company has offered you a visa sponsorship, if not when you are beginning at the job, after a year or after some time working with them. So make sure they're going to offer you that visa. Also, medical insurance. Medical bills can get very expensive here, so make sure your company is offering you a good medical insurance, good dental insurance, your 401k and a company match. This is basically your retirement plan. You get to invest a portion of your money on this retirement plan monthly. So when you are 65, 60, you have like a cushion where you can live from that. And I will very recommend you to do that with them, especially because most companies match some of the percentage that you invest. So for example, some of them is 4%, some of them 6%, which is basically free money. So if you're investing some, you're getting some from the company as well. And definitely the PTO. Like one of the things you're gonna miss the most when you graduate from college is summer vacation. You're not gonna get vacation, you're gonna have to be working. So definitely make sure your company gives you some extra days where you can either, be with your family, spend the free time, or even like for medical appointments or stuff that you have to get done outside of work. And then bonus plans. I wouldn't find this as important as the three first ones, but definitely like if they're offering bonus plans, some companies offer now bonus plans for COVID or just for Christmas or, like at the end of the year. So definitely check those out. Some things to consider for your paycheck is the cost of living. So depending where you live, like the costs change. So make sure there's this web page called Glassdoor where you can find the average pay for different job titles. So if you go there, you can negotiate with them already with like an average or like something that is suitable for the job that you're doing. And check out the work schedule. So most of jobs there are probably gonna get like an 8 to 5 job, but there are a lot of jobs that offer like weekend schedules or like after hour schedules. So make sure you're comfortable with that. I know sometimes they give you great offers and they're like, oh, but you have to work the weekends. But just make sure you are all right with that. And if you need the weekends like just to rest or to see your family, make sure you prioritize those things or like choose something that works with your time. And yeah, negotiating. Like I said, whenever they give you an offer, it's never the last offer. You can always counter back something else. If there's something that is important to you or do you think that they need to offer to you to feel comfortable in the company, by all means, send them an email. They know they expect a counter offer. Always be respectful, and yeah.
All righty, so the visa understanding, we're going to talk about that later. So I do not want to cover this. It's something that we want to talk about. And later, we're also going to have some time to go over that. You have time to ask questions on how our process was. And I know a lot of people here have gone through this process. So I just want to make sure that if you have questions later, please come talk to us. We can talk about H-1B, OPT, and we're going to have someone here as well to respond the questions.
Alrighty. And then I guess just finishing up. everything you guys are going through, if anyone is graduating or looking for a job now, being an international student, it can take, a toll, because not only you have to think about your classes, you have to think about, are my OPT papers coming in? Am I getting a job that is going to offer me a visa? I'm away from home too, so I just wanted to make a reminder, check on yourself, make sure you're doing well. If you're feeling sad, to remember you have a community here, especially as international students. We all know how it feels to be away from home and going through the same thing. So definitely check on your friends. If you need to talk, Penn State offers great opportunities that you can do. They offer individual and group counseling, self-help options. They also have classes like yoga, meditation, all this stuff where you can meet with other people, that sometimes are going through the same things as you, or you just want to meet other people,
And the puppies at the final session as well, final season. They're the puppies that come on site.
Oh yeah, they bring puppies sometimes.
Don't forget to enjoy the puppies.
But yeah, but definitely take advantage of that. I mean, I used it. I know Rafa used it once too, and like I said, being away from home and all of the stuff we have to do, we definitely, most important is taking care of ourselves and making sure we're enjoying the process, because it's fun. It's a lot of things to look forward to. It's an exciting time, so let's make sure we're feeling well so we can enjoy it as we should.
Yeah, and make sure that you are using the mental health service. I used it, Maria used it, she mentioned, and it's not anything to be afraid of or be ashamed of. It's something that is available for you, that if you're not feeling like yourself, or if you're feeling a little bit different, not being able to cope with a lot of the stress. And hey, it takes a lot of stress to find a job while you're maintaining your good grades, while you're part of clubs, while you're away from your family. So there's a lot of things that come into your life that are different than before. So make sure that if you have anything that is getting stressful to you, that you're looking for help. And the international community, your friends, that's going to be what feels closer to home as well. And if you have those friends, and if you have people around you, it's going to make it easier. Maria and I, we've met about 5-6 years ago, and we've remained friends. And we have a group of friends that we try to see each other at least 2-3 times a year. And this really helps, because all of us are away from home. We have family in Brazil, Ecuador, Spain, Puerto Rico. So it's always good that we're able to maintain in touch and keep in touch after school as well. So make sure you're leveraging those resources. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And we truly appreciate everyone being here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.